already in lockdown, Challenge family, along with myself and our Challenge family ambassadors, thought that over the next several weeks we would bring you some of the training sessions that we've been doing while at home. Now obviously I'm from Australia. We are not in lockdown at the moment, but I have found myself spending much more time at home, and because of that, you know, I've had to change a few of my sessions around, and I do quite a few sessions at home now, even though I can still go out. I know for many of you in Europe this is not a possibility right now, so we are going to bring you some different sessions throughout the next few weeks so that you can keep your training going while you're at home. Now I'm going to do a core workout. Now this is a very simple core workout. It takes around 10 to 15 minutes total time. Really good way to start the morning. I usually do this every second day. So as soon as I wake up downstairs, before I even have my first morning coffee, I get this core workout done. It's 7 exercises in total, and it's a really good way to set up your day. Obviously having your core switched on for swim, bike and run, super important. It's something that we often overlook. So it's a really great session to do right at the beginning before you move on to, say, an indoor bike session or a treadmill session. So anyway, so 7 different core exercises, and the timing that we're going to use, 45 seconds on, 15 seconds rest. So 45 seconds worth of the activity, then 15 seconds of rest and recovery before we move on to the next exercise. So very first exercise, really simple one. On your mat or on a towel, whatever you've got at home, just simple crunches. So hands behind the base of the neck, try and keep them nice and open, and just crunch. Sometimes with crunches I like to come all the way up and all the way down, so it's a full crunch. And then also you can also incorporate just some half crunches. Most important thing is that you're not using your arms to get you up. Arms should stay relatively still, and you are using your stomach, your core to do the crunch. Okay. So second exercise, Russian twists. I'm lucky enough to have at home a fairly old but still working 9-kilo ball. So I like to use a 9-kilo ball to do my Russian twist. If you don't have this sort of equipment at home, you can use a brick. You can use 2 full water bottles together. I'll use the ball for now. But anything that's weighted and that you can actually hold quite comfortably in your hands, you can use. So obviously the first way to do a Russian twist, feet on the ground. Keeping nice form, just tapping the ball so ever so lightly on each side. More advanced, and the way I like to do it is feet off the ground. And again, same movement. Try and limit the amount of movement that your feet are making, so you don't want this sort of action. You want to keep your feet nice and still and just working the obliques. Again, 45 seconds on, 15 seconds recovery. We're doing the moving plank, and the reason I like this is because I always have a little bit of a competition with myself to try and see how many moving planks I can do in the 45 seconds. Obviously doing it properly is the most important part, so I wouldn't suggest doing the competition with yourself straight away, but maybe on the second or third round through, it's a good idea just to keep you honest and give you something to aim for, is to do a little competition. So obviously moving plank, you start in a plank position, nice tabletop back. Squeeze the glutes, make sure that you are engaging your core. So make sure you are in a really good position to start with. And then obviously it's up and down. I like to change arms halfway through so that you are pressing up with the opposite arm. And that's the moving plank. Right, the fourth exercise today, and it's quite an advanced move, Jackknife. It's not everyone's favourite, and as I said, it is quite an advanced move. So if you know that you don't have a super strong core, maybe leave this one out till you know that your core is strong enough to be able to handle this particular exercise. But obviously Jackknife, starting laying down. And it's 1, 2, 3. And I like to make this advanced by holding a drink bottle full of water, just to give me a little bit more weight. If that does seem a little bit too difficult on the lower back, you can always change it to bent legs. So there's always a way to modify an exercise so that it is either a little easier or a little bit more difficult. The 5th exercise today, leg raises. Now, if you've got a partner at home, very easy because you can use your partner's ankles as a stabilization point. Obviously here today, my partner's doing the videoing, so he can't help me. So I've got a fence here that I can use. If you're indoors, you can use table legs, you can use underneath the couch, just anywhere that's very stable and solid so that you've got an anchor. So I'm going to move back a little bit. Again, holding onto here and controlling it down. And controlling it down. Often for me, if I want to make it a little bit more difficult, again with my water bottle full, it's great because the water bottle's got a little bit of a edge that you can put it through. I like to hold on to that, and again, same exercise, but controlling it. It just makes it a little bit difficult, more difficult having a little bit of weight between your feet. Okay. So the 6th core exercise today, ankle taps. You can do them without any equipment. Again, the most basic way, engage the core, keep it up so you're never going back down. Your shoulders should remain off the ground the entire time. And it's just a very simple tapping the ankle. So really good for the obliques. If you want to make it a little bit more difficult, grab those 2 full water bottles. Same deal. Tap the ankles. Remember the timing, 45 seconds on, 15 seconds off. Okay, the 7th and final core exercise that we're going to do today as part of our little session is what we call a walkout. Obviously, I have this little piece of equipment, which is my favourite little piece of equipment, and I actually travel overseas with this because it comes apart really easily. It's an ab wheel. If you don't have an ab wheel, you can still do this exercise. I'll show you now with the ab wheel. Obviously, I start on my knees. Just making sure before I start every exercise, consciously switch that core on, switch the glutes on, switch the lower back on. Very important in this exercise to keep that entire core area, and what we call the base, switched on and working. And we're going to roll all the way out and all the way back. Try not to come all the way back in because you want to keep that core engaged the entire time. So by stopping about here, you're keeping that core engaged the entire time. Now, if you do not have an ab wheel, no problem. You can still do this exercise. Starting standing, again, remember, switch it all on. And what you can do is down and what we call walkout. So walking out as far as you can, tapping and walking back. And when you get up, squeeze everything, glutes, stomach, everything, squeeze, start again. Walking all the way out as far as you can go. Tap as far out. Again, up, reset, squeeze it all in. Down. I like to alternate hands too, so make sure that you're tapping out with the opposite hand. And up and down. And there you have it. There's 7, I'm a bit tired, 7 core exercises. I'd like to do it every second morning. 45 seconds on, 15 seconds recovery. Go through the 7 exercises 3 times through. You can start with 2, move up to 3, but it's a really, really good way to start the day. And it really, really helps with your next session, whether it be a treadmill session or an indoor bike session, because if you've got your core switched on, it really helps with every other activity that you do all day long. Thanks, guys.